Hey y'all, Vern Clausen, the Royal Gorge Reloader here, and wanted to talk to you about safety when you're reloading, and if you are doing everything exactly the same way every time, and your bullets are coming out and they're doing what they're supposed to do, and they're the same size, they're the same weight, they're the same grain, they go in and out of the chamber easily. All of those things, they all matter a great deal when you're talking about safety and when you're talking about uh, concentricity and accuracy and all of those things that play into whether or not you're a weekend plinker or you're a match grade shooter, or if you're hunting at 100 yards, or if you're taking shots at 500 yards because you're comfortable doing it. You've got the right equipment, the right bullets, the right rifle, the right optics. All of those things play into it. I want to talk to you about whether or not you should shoot somebody else's reloads that you're not familiar with. If you don't know who loaded that stuff, you probably need to be real careful on whether or not you're going to shoot it. I reload and I give some ammunition to some people, and I shoot everything that I've loaded, and I know that everything that I loaded is safe and it is accurate and it is as close to um, specifications as possible. So I wanted to go over some 4570 bullets that I bought from a shop, and then and they pretty much they said, hey, these things are kind of hinky, and you need to don't shoot them. If you're going to do anything with them, take them apart and use the parts, and that's what I'm going to do, and I'll show you why. And this is going to kind of get jiggly with the camera a little bit because I'm going to have to move the camera around a bit to get to what I'm showing you, but I will try to be as good about it as I can. So I'll pause while I get the camera into a new position, and then I'll talk about what I'm doing. Okay, so you can see what I'm talking about, I'm hoping. Um, I'm going to try to put this camera down so it's a little bit easier. Do you see how much difference in height? This one, this one, this one, that one, all of these are all the same 4570 bullets. And as far as I know, they are all the same projectiles. Now, as close as I can recall, or close as I can get, is I think that they're supposed to be 405. But I'm not sure if these are home cast bullets or if somebody cast them and sold them, or if they were supposed to be run through a bullet sizing die, which is a projectile sizing die. It pushes through there, makes sure it's the right size, and all of that good stuff. Um, and then I'm going to weigh a few for you. Got my scale here, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to see my scale, but I'm going to try to put it right close to the camera, and I'll tip this down so that you can see, maybe you can see that scale. I'm going to try. Uh, no, ain't going to work. Maybe not. Okay, well, there you go. You can see that I need to tear this out. But we got that torn out. Now, you got one bullet, 407.4. So that's 2.4 over the 405 mark. And then you've got 103 or 403.3. So that is 1.7 under that 405 that they're shooting for. Give me just a second. I will be right back. I'm going to try to pause you in the end. Okay, so not only did I find that they are all different sizes and weights, I checked out the grain weight of the powder that I'm taking out of them. And the grain weight for the powder that I'm taking out of them comes out to be 35.68 grains. So I'm thinking maybe they're trying to get 35.7. I'm hoping maybe they're trying to get 35 and they're 7 over. Who knows? They could be 3 under and 2 over or whatever. I don't know, but I know they ain't right. I've got some total lengths here at 2.551, which is, it is what it is here. But then I've got total length of 2.389, which is way different. Can you see the difference in the height on those? That is crazy. What the Lee loading specification here says you're looking for a case length of 2.105. Now, I've got some empty cases that I pulled the bullets from, and you can't get a good feed or a good measurement because you can see the gap between the primer and the bullet. They didn't even get the primer seated correctly. So, I mean, you can't get a good reading on that case, and it rocks around. This one looks like a circus act because they don't have the primer set right. You can see the primer ain't even level. You can see that edge right there. So, with all of these things in mind, let me spin you around here. With all of these things in mind, you need to try to figure out, okay, what were they looking for? What were they trying to do? Obviously, they're trying to load some 4570. I don't know what kind of primers they're using. I don't know what kind of powder they're using. I know that, I mean, you can see that bullet right there. I mean, that ain't good. That ain't good at all. And then you put one right next to it. They're 2 different heights. And then you get another one out of the same box. A third different height. So anyway, what I'm trying to get across to you is if you pick up some ammo and you don't know who loaded it, and it's obviously a reload, you've got, and here, I'm going to show you this too. I've measured the case lengths on these. The case lengths on this one is 3.5 thousandths longer than the case length on this one. And then you can see the difference in the case length right here. And then you can see the difference in the depth that they laid that bullet in. Wow. I don't know what they were doing. And maybe they didn't know what they were doing. I don't know. Maybe they were trying something new. Maybe they were new at this. Maybe they have, maybe they've been loading this way for years and gotten away with it. But I don't know how you can have any accuracy, any concentricity at all loading like that. Anyway, what we're doing is we're going to take them apart and we're going to use the parts that we can use. And if the brass is too short to use for a 4570 government 405 load, then I will trim them down to fit. And you can go clear down to 2.440 for a 325 grain FTX bullet. They actually want you to trim it down short because that FTX bullet needs to seat just a little bit higher than normal. And they seat it just a little bit higher than normal because they want the pressures to stay down so that the FTX bullet flies the way it's supposed to be. And I've been shooting that FTX and it does wonderfully out of my rifle. I shoot the 405 grain lead cast and they shoot wonderfully. But if you're trying to don't go out and sight in with 325 and then go hunt with 405, you're not going to hit anything. You're going to be shooting a foot lower, 6 inches to a foot lower at 100 yards. So if you're going to hunt with 325, sight in with 325. If you're going to hunt with 405, sight in with 405. If you've sighted in at 100 yards and you've got a 200-yard shot, you better know how much that bullet's going to drop, which with a 405 grain bullet, and the powder, depending on the what kind of powder you're using and how fast the bullet's traveling. It could be a difference of 12 to 16, maybe 18 inches of bullet drop in that extra 100 yards. So if you're going to shoot at them distances with that kind of heavy bullet, which these bullets, they drop like a sack of potatoes. If you're going to hunt at those distances, then practice at those distances so that you know if you've got a dovetail like the Henry does, you push up on it, you slide that little gate forward a little bit, and it brings that rear sight up one notch, and you know that that's going to put you where you need to be for that yardage. So practice with your weapon and know what your weapon is going to do. Practice with the ammunition that you're going to use. If you're using hand loads, make sure that they are the same way every time. And make sure they're the right length, the right circumference, the right crimp on them. That the bullets are all seated the same. That they've all got the same kind of powder. That the primers are set in there right, so you don't have some kind of freaking circus act freak trying to get away over here, trying to dance a circle on you, and to me, somebody's not paying attention because you can see that primer sticking up out of there. You can feel it for sure. I mean, you got to be able to feel it. If you're not looking at all these things when you're doing it and you're not taking your time, you're not doing it right, and you're loading for somebody else, there's a chance that you could get somebody else hurt because you're not doing it right. Maybe you're not following the book. Maybe your machines are not accurate. Maybe your scale that you're using is not right. Maybe the person that loaded them was tired, and or maybe they had something going on in the house and they weren't concentrating and they were just trying to throw this stuff together real quick. Whatever reason, you get some bullets and they look good or whatever, and you can tell somebody took their time putting them together. And the edges of them are all good. And I'm looking at one here that I took apart, and look at the edge of this case. You see how chewed up that is? It looks like somebody grabbed it with a pair of pliers or something. And which I use a pair of wire cutters, and I'll show you what I do. I put my casing here. I've got that 4570 case holder, okay? And I take my wire cutters and I put them in upside down with the blades on top and the little cavity here on the bottom. So that way I can see where I'm grabbing on that case and I can get a good grip on it. And then that way when I come down on it, that wire cutter holds onto that bullet. It's going to put a divot in it. It's going to put a little divot in that bullet. You can see it. See that right there? The little crease. Not that big a deal, um, because it didn't change the weight of the bullet at all. It's going to change maybe how it flies a little bit. But I take your thumbnail and take the little edge off of it, or you can take I'm going to take them and put them through my lead resizing die from Lee, and press them through there and make sure that they're right. Another thing that I noticed is that some of these, like this one I just pulled, it has wax rings around it where the bullet seats. There's one on top and there's one on bottom. Now, for whatever reason, they waxed the bottom ring. They did not wax the top ring, which I'm thinking that this one is supposed to serve as a cannular. So maybe they didn't wax that one because that's where they wanted the bullet to seat. But then you can see that they ran that bullet right up to give that cannular, and that's fine. That's fine. If that's what they wanted to do and that was the bullet length that they were going for, then that's fine. If that works in their rifle, whatever. Good. Good for them. But at the same time, we've got powder in there, and I don't know what kind of powder it is. I don't know if there's a way to identify that powder without microscopes and all sorts of good stuff. But we're going to weigh this out, and we're going to see. See now that when I was looking at this before and figuring out the average for 5 cases of what powder they had in them, the average for 5 cases comes up to 35.68. Okay, and so I'm thinking that okay, they must have been looking for like 37. 35 is 0.7, which I'm looking in some of my manuals, and then that's in the ballpark somewhere. So I mean, I can see that maybe happening. But I just poured this one out, and I'm seeing 43.8. That's a big jump from 35.6 or 35.7 if we're being generous and giving them that benefit of the doubt. So what I'm going to tell you, when you buy stuff that you don't know what it is, you check it. You check that length. You check the concentration. You check the bullet seating depths. Pull 4 or 5 bullets out of the box at random places, not just from one end or the other end or out of the middle. Pull them from all over the box and weigh them and see if they're within a couple hundred thousandths of each other. I would say no more than 3 or 4 thousandths, or 3 or 4 hundredths on the grain scale, because you don't want to have one that's got too much powder in it, and you shoot it, and it's I don't know how else to say this, but you've got to be really super careful if you're going to shoot something that somebody else has done. Um, and most people that reload are going to tell you don't do it. Do not do it. If you're buying stuff that somebody else reloaded, you're buying it for the materials that's in it. Maybe you're going to pull these apart and melt them back down and recast your own. That's all good. You can do that. I don't know how many times I find hundreds of 22s at the range that didn't get shot, and I go home, I cast them, melt them down, whatever. Or I pull them apart. I take the powder, I put it in a jar of that's marked waste powder, um, and I might take that projectile and I might use it in one of my science projects and see how many of those 22 projectiles I can get in a 12 gauge round and see if they're accurate at all, or just go out and play with those. I mean, that's what we're doing. We're trying to experiment a little bit, and we're having some fun. But uh, for what it's worth, folks, um, I've got them measured. I've got them pulled apart. I'm not seeing any concentricity at all. You can see how much difference there was in these bullets and how much weight difference there is in the grains of the powder that they used. And I'm not sure what kind of powder they used. So, but anyway, for what it's worth, be careful out there. Uh, take care of one another, be kind to one another, and we'll see you later. Bye bye.